Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It appears as if the US SEC has filed an appeal against Ripple's recent win in court, talking about if XRP is actually a security. So I'm going to go over some things and then I will give you exactly, apparently from the information that we have right now, as to what is going on. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, has filed an interlocutory appeal of the trial sentence against Ripple. The regulator aims to confront the fact that XRP was not considered a security by the judge. The new trial is set to start in the second quarter of 2024, sometime between the 1st of April and the 30th of June of next year. The SEC expressed their concerns about the problems that could arise from the ruling in the Ripple case. This happened a couple of days after the ruling in Ripple's favor. We heard from Gary Gensler, who is the head of the mastermind group known as the SEC, where he basically said that he was a bit disappointed in the ruling, because what the ruling kind of means, and I mentioned this before, if XRP is not a security, other coins simply have to match the, have to match the metrics of the coin, and then they're also considered safe. However, if by default from the judge, XRP is automatically safe, and therefore then other coins are also in the same exact bunch, and then the SEC doesn't get to control the space that they've been desperately trying to get under control, their control, for the last couple of years. So of course, it was expected that they were going to file an appeal. I think a day or two after, there were rumors that they were going to do it, and people were like, nah, they're not going to do it. And I'm like, you have to understand at this point that this is a personal feeling. It's almost like a psychotic fixation on the cryptocurrency space that the SEC has, trying to make sure that they get control over something. It would be one thing if they try to actually just simply get control over derivative products, i.e., XRP is a coin. There is a product created by a company who's trying to give you a return on your money by the end of the year for holding XRP inside of their whatever they have. Cool. The SEC can get control over that because it's not the actual coin itself. It's a product created by the actual company or a company. But the SEC has no intention of doing that. They're trying to go right to the root. And it's been happening over and over again that they cannot get control over the space like they want to. So they simply keep throwing tantrums. The filing reads from the SEC. Specifically, the SEC seeks to certify the court's holding that defendants' programmatic offers and sales to XRP buyers over crypto asset trading platforms and Ripple's other distributions in exchange for labor and services did not involve the offer or sale of securities under the Howey tests, end quote. Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, said on Twitter that the SEC doesn't have the right to appeal. He added that Ripple will file its response sometime next week. Here's the tweet for it right here. So what it appears to actually be, this is from what I'm understanding from a lot of the language and from what other people have been discussing. I told you before, there are a multitude of Ripple, XRP lawyers and attorneys and experts on Twitter for some reason over the last couple of years. And it appears that from what I've heard, it appears that the SEC is no longer able to appeal the decision of the judge that XRP itself is not a security. What they're trying to prove now, it appears, the SEC, is that the actual sales that Ripple took out or had when selling to other companies over the course of a certain period of time, the SEC is trying to prove that those sales, not the general sale of XRP, is or therefore would be considered a security. I know it seems very convoluted, It's not that they're trying to overlap the judge's idea or that say that she's incorrect. They're now trying to find another angle to say that the actual programmatic sales from the company to other companies in order to put XRP out there and or for companies to be able to absorb XRP. You know, we heard that companies are buying XRP, that those sales specifically constitute a security. And this is the thing that's supposed to start sometime next year. I am extremely happy that the market did not overreact. I mean, completely did not overreact when we heard that the SEC would be filing an appeal, because I think a number of people came out almost immediately to let everyone understand exactly what was going on, and you know that they shouldn't be panicking. Similar to whenever anything happens on Binance, Changpeng Zhao was like immediate to let people know that they should not panic. So it kind of is what it is. No one should be surprised. This was meant to be their coup de grace. Like, this was meant to be like the top of the pyramid for the SEC, because if they could have convinced the judge, which they weren't going to, if they could have convinced the judge that XRP was a security, therefore every other altcoin would have also fallen at the exact same time. Remember also, this is right around I think even before we got the judgment, the people from the SEC said that they believe that every cryptocurrency is a security, and therefore they should all fall under their jurisdiction. If you get a judge's ruling saying that this one coin that you've been going after for 3 years does not belong to you and you cannot control it, of course they're going to try and appeal in some sort of way. So yeah, we have that to look forward to sometime next year. I don't think the market is going to care too much. This will be after the Bitcoin halving. I think the market will have so many other things going forward at that point. I have nothing really more to say. I'm not gonna rant, because at this point it seems a bit pointless, everything that the SEC is doing. It seems actually very sad that they're trying so desperately to really get this under their control, but they're also doing it to tons of other projects and coins and crypto exchanges as well. I think there's some news in this video, I'm not really sure, but there was also another SEC situation. And when I tell people, I have a couple of friends, as the market has been a bit lull for a while, I have a lot of friends who've been asking how the market has been. And some of them, they'll even ask like, oh, is the SEC still crazy? And they were in the market about a year ago. And when I catch them up and tell them, you know, everything that's been happening, they look almost mortified. They're like, what's wrong with them? Why are they doing that? And I'm like, I wish I could tell you, because just a little clarification. Every other country in the world, their SEC isn't like this. If you've been watching these videos, my videos, for a year and a half, every other country's SEC has either given proper cryptocurrency regulation or has simply stated, we do not and cannot control crypto, but we can control products created to, you know, give a return from crypto. Yeah. Not much more to say. That's the SEC is going to have another lawsuit against Ripple next year to claim that the initial sales of XRP from the company to other companies constitutes a security, which is also absolute nonsense. These people need to get a life. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, I think, popular news, a lot of people keep bowing down to I was going to say the term is not warlords. I can't think of what the term is right now. To these higher entities who don't have our best interest in heart, in their mind at all. Anytime we get news about them, everyone completely goes insane and is acting as if this is a great thing for the cryptocurrency space. Visa has recently announced that test that they conducted on the Ethereum Goerli testnet to enable users who use credit or debit cards to pay gas fees directly with fiat currency have been successfully completed. Visa's technical team aims to develop a payment solution by creating a payment contract using account abstraction and the ERC 4337 standard. Visa has been conducting tests for some time to enable users with cards to use the Ethereum network to pay gas fees or transaction fees directly with fiat. Visa's technical team announced that tests conducted on the testnet have been successfully completed. Earlier this year, last year, we heard that Visa was trying to get more into the cryptocurrency space, and they announced their bit of a foray into the Ethereum corner. Part of their idea was that if you wanted to send payments on Ethereum, you could use Visa instead. So instead of me sending you Ethereum directly through the blockchain as a one-to-one transaction, I mentioned this before, you would send it to Visa, Visa would send it to a clearinghouse, there may be another clearinghouse after that, and then they would send it to the final person, which is absolute nonsense. So now what Visa is trying to do, and this is mainly because if you understand the actual gravity of everything that's going on, how large the cryptocurrency space has become, I am myself a bit fatigued, always talking about the same thing over and over and over. I do understand that a large amount of people out there do get it, are understanding what's taking place. But when you really think about the idea of a company as large as Visa and MasterCard is doing something similar, who are trying to make sure that they're integrating cryptocurrencies into their services, this lets me know and should also be a massive indication to you that cryptocurrencies are basically here to stay. Visa would not be wasting their time using Ethereum, using their testnet, building on top of their platform, trying to make sure that you don't send a normal Ethereum transaction and that you simply send it to Visa first, as they say it is safer, which makes absolutely no sense because the safest way is actually on the blockchain. So when you talk about them trying to make sure, it basically comes down to something similar to what Coinbase and other companies have been doing for a while, where they issue an actual debit card for you to be able to use crypto. 99% of the time, it's a Visa or MasterCard that's being used from the cryptocurrency exchanges. So how do you make sure that you knock out the other player? You simply say, well, do it directly through our systems. We issue you the card, and therefore this is a very clever way to make sure that Binance, Kraken, Gemini, and Coinbase don't get any fees because it would no longer be their card. It would be completely on Visa's system. Yeah, I mean, it's monumental in that we're seeing these larger companies, basically, the term is definitely bend the knee to the cryptocurrency space. They understand what's happening, where all of this is going to go, what the future of payments will look like. But I'm always disappointed in the amount of people in the cryptocurrency space who appreciate this news, not because of the adoption of these networks by older players in the space, the people who've been around for a while. It's more that people praise the news because it is Visa. And they're hoping that this causes more adoption from Visa specifically. You understand? It's people saying, well, Visa's going to benefit from this. Visa will do extremely well. Visa's going to, make crypto go mainstream. But at the same time, people aren't buying the coins that they're expecting to go mainstream from the actual workings of Visa. It's like a lot of times when you hear all the companies who are into Bitcoin. I've spoken with a lot of people. They're like, wow, that's, it's really good for Bitcoin's adoption. And then I'll ask them, like, do you own any Bitcoin? And I've heard 9 million times people don't own any Bitcoin. They don't own any Satoshis. And I'm like, how are you excited for these gigantic companies getting into the space and making sure that crypto gets spread to billions of people on the planet? Do you think that the cryptocurrency's price will drop or stay this low after the actions of these companies? I don't know. It's always a conundrum, doesn't even fit the word properly. So yeah, very popular news. Visa, anything Visa, getting into the cryptocurrency space always ends up making big news. The same exact thing with any other major company. But once again, people in crypto still aren't paying attention. Not to sound like a broken record, but get it together. I'm not understanding what all this lax stuff is right now, because when the market's going insane next year, everyone's gonna it's just the same loop. It's the same exact thing. We'll be dealing with this once again during the next halving. So not the one next year, but the one in 4 years after that. It's going to be the exact same thing. No one pays attention to the market. We keep hearing that all these mega players are getting into the space. Prices end up skyrocketing. Everyone goes, oh my gosh, I wish I had bought earlier. That's why I told you all before. I'm feverishly buying not every day, but at least every week, because we did not have this level of adoption in 2021, and we did not even get this far, remotely this far, in 2017. So I'm expecting great things for the market, but it's a matter of everyone else also understanding about what's going to happen as well. That's the Visa is trying to get you to pay Ether gas fees with dollars with your card if you're paying with Ether news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in yay news, I'm not really sure for those of you not looking at the screen. It says SEC's Ethereum ETF applications have surged to 15. We went over this about a week ago, and I think a lot of people, there's a huge amount of confusion, and I think it's happening on purpose. I see a lot of people online talking about that they are optimistic or excited for an Ethereum ETF to get launched because there is not a Bitcoin ETF. If you read through the actual news, and if for some reason everyone keeps omitting it in their actual titles, regardless of where it might be, these are going to be Ethereum futures ETFs. There are already Bitcoin futures within the United States. It is not a large jump for the SEC to simply say okay to Ethereum futures as well. The reason why we're seeing so many is because I think 2 weeks ago or something like that, the SEC announced that they are open once again to be able to look at applications for futures related to cryptocurrencies, and for some reason Ethereum got to the top of the list. So this is why we're seeing now 15 companies who are trying to do it. The futures will be denominated in US dollars. They will not be in actual Ether by itself. We just recently had news, for those of you who missed the video. I believe it was in Sweden. So all of the Nordic countries, 4 of them, now have access and have created an actual physical Ethereum ETF, where if you hold any portion of the ETF, they actually even give you a 5% return back every year, because they're also staking the coins as well. So it's not simply that they're holding Ether, they're also staking it, and they give you back money in return. This will be nothing like this. These are going to be futures. They will be based in US dollars. They will be settled in US dollars. It will normally, the way that futures have worked within the cryptocurrency space, it is people who are betting against the price of these assets to make money. This is how it's always been. So I understand the excitement, but a lot of people keep saying that we're going to be getting an Ethereum ETF very soon. No. The idea of an Ethereum ETF or a Bitcoin ETF is that they will be physical. They will be physically holding the actual coin, much like the one in Sweden is doing. But this will not be the same. So just thought I'd clarify one more time, because I keep seeing people getting very excited. Even this article is talking about there are now 15 applications. That's fantastic. That'll do nothing for the cryptocurrency market except for getting new institutions in the space who are trying to figure out a way to short our market. That's the US SEC has received 15 applications for Ethereum futures ETF contracts. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, I don't even know where to place it. I was going to say water is wet, but this doesn't even fit it. As the Federal Reserve tries to fight inflation, analysts from Goldman Sachs, one of the world's largest banks, is expecting the FOMC to end the rate hike process sometime in September. You might remember earlier this year, we heard that the Fed was going to stop raising interest rates. I believe it was April or May. That was the time frame we kept on getting from every single analyst, everyone on CNBC, you name it. And then around summertime, we heard that they were going to have 2 more rate hikes. We have already had one, and it is expected that the next one will happen sometime in September, maybe mid-September, perhaps in October. We heard before also November, but I think that might be a bit of a stretch. They think there might be another pause and then another rate hike to see how things are actually going. However, a lot of the news, how do I even say this? A lot of the news floating around right now is like banks and companies trying to like predict what we kind of already know. We had something recently as well from Bank of America, who was also talking about that they think that the rate hikes are going to stop. There's people talking about that it says it even on the screen right here, that they think that in 2024, the Fed will actually begin to cut interest rates. I don't think that's going to happen. If you've been paying attention, inflation is still with us, and I don't mean the normal 1% to 2%. I mean the actual, like, you going into a store and prices being extremely high. And the Fed has actually acknowledged this once or twice, saying that they also need to try and get that under control. Inflation went up a smidge amongst many different countries over the course of the last couple of weeks as well. I think 0.5% or something like that. The moment they announce that they are stopping interest rate hikes, we're going to probably see inflation begin to rise by 0.5% or 1% every quarter, give or take. Like the old problems that they had have not disappeared. Raising interest, the reason why we're at a 22-year high for interest rates is because that things are actually really bad within the monetary system right now. And this is why they're desperately trying to get it under control. Normally you would have 1 or 2 or 3 quarters of rate hikes, but not like 15 consecutive months in a row where hikes continue to actually happen. I do not think rates are going to get cut sometime next year. And I'll say this to you in the best way possible. If they do end up cutting interest rates next year, we are going to have a lot of brand new rich people within the cryptocurrency space. Do you understand what happens when they stop raising interest rates? The stock market goes up. When the stock market goes up, we also go up as well. If the timing ends up being correct and we end up having, and I dare say this in a whisper, an actual physical Bitcoin ETF, which I don't think we're going to get because the SEC is corrupt. If we have the stock market going up, interest rates have stopped rising, Bitcoin's having, the cryptocurrency markets also rising, and then they begin to cut rates, and it's easier for people to take out loans and to take out money, the inflation rate will rise. People will begin to push their money into markets the same exact way that we saw in 2020 and 2021. And then it's basically one long birthday for everyone who's in crypto. This is also floating around a lot. Again, a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen. I'm expecting 2 more rate hikes completely this year. They've mentioned before that there's a possibility of another rate hike sometime in the winter. Sure, if we have to do it, just get it over with. I say this all the time. I think a lot of times people end up being afraid, scared, or like of the unknown. If it's going to happen and we can't stop it, like we can't have a conversation with somebody in the Fed and say, can you guys stop? And they go, oh, okay, yeah, we're done. They're going to do it whether we want it to or not. Just let it happen. I would have loved if last year, if we just had one gigantic hike. Imagine if we had gone from 0 to 5.5% all in one go. Markets would have collapsed, but we'd be so much higher than we currently are right now. So now Goldman Sachs has jumped into the ring, same as Bank of America. There's also JP Morgan, but JP Morgan, a lot of the stuff they say, I don't really trust them at all. Like not even from like they're a bank perspective. Like a lot of their analysis and stuff like that they've been dropping in the last 2 years have been very, very slimy, talking negatively about cryptocurrencies. And then we figure out that they're also in that cryptocurrency market. It doesn't sit right with me. That's the Goldman Sachs talks about the end of rate hikes potentially in September and also the beginning of rate cuts in 2024. There's no way. There's actually no way, because the market would go, all the markets would go completely insane, and then the Fed would have to then freeze and pause and raise them all over again when inflation hits 4, 5, 6, 7% because everyone's going crazy. Yeah. Anyway, that's the Fed news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in popular news, and apparently Coca-Cola is launching a set of NFTs. This news was very popular, and I saw a lot of people saying that it was popular because Coca-Cola is releasing their first ever NFT collection, and how major this is for the space and how spectacular. They're launching it on Coinbase's base. For those of you who missed it, no one in Coinbase was around in the 1980s or the early 1990s, and they have no idea what that term means. And yeah, it's supposed to be like the best new thing in the entire world. I told you that we were going to continue receiving a flood of news from Coinbase. They made a new layer 2 solution that goes on top of Ethereum. It's meant to be like the best thing in the entire world that we've ever had. They're trying to get people to use Coinbase's base layer exclusively when sending payments, as opposed to using Ethereum. This is absolute nonsense. You need to use the main chain, especially if the transaction fees are low enough. You don't have to use another layer 2 solution to give money to someone else, Coinbase, in this situation. The main issue with this announcement is, and everyone discussing that this is Coca-Cola's first NFT collection, it's because it's not. For those of you who have been alive for more than a year and a half, Coca-Cola's first NFT collection was with Vivi. That is VEVE, the digital collectible NFT platform. That is a website and also an app. This happened last August 2022. They released multiple different NFTs with Coca-Cola and with Vivi around the exact same time. So this is about the fourth time that this has happened, where there is news that a company is releasing an NFT collection for the first time. It ends up being thrown around. Everyone completely loses their mind. There was something recently as well where it was something about DC. People were like, oh, the first DC NFTs or the first, and I'm like, nope. Vivi also did that before as well. This keeps happening over and over and over. But if you are paying attention to what Vivi is doing, you understand that they have all the actual partnerships, and they've been releasing branded NFTs for a couple of years now. So they are definitely at the forefront of everything that's going on. Yeah, this was popular news, I assume, because the name Coca-Cola was there, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, their first NFTs. It's the same exact thing like when Starbucks released their first NFTs and everyone completely lost it. They were sold out in seconds. Nope. Vivi usually has all the first NFTs from major companies, from Disney, etc., Marvel, you name it. Yeah, that's the Coca-Cola. Already had NFTs with Vivi news. Yeah, let's move on. Right. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. It is, I know this will sound dumb because it is summer, but it's very warm in a lot of different places right now. So please make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Make sure that you have enough water. I've been contacting friends and family and asking them just in general, how are you? What's up? What's going on? But also making sure that people are drinking enough water. I am always quite shocked that people don't drink any, and I don't know why, but make sure, water is the building block. Do you see that? That was crazy. Water is the building block of life, and you need it. It is quite necessary for you, so make sure that you're drinking enough water, especially if you are in a very warm region right now. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.